Welcome everyone from the Country Dance and Song Society. We're sending our greetings and inviting you all to join us for this fourth CDSS web chat. This one is on Family and Community Dance Organizers Unite. And we're thrilled to know that there are almost 80 organizers who are interested in this topic, and they're from 30 states and provinces and Australia. So I'm Linda Henry, the CDSS Community Resources Manager, and we have Katie German with us, our Executive Director, and Lynn Nichols, our marketing and
the marketing manager.
Marketing manager, a new title for her, and Nikki Perez, our membership coordinator. So we're very happy you're all here. And for those of you who are viewing your screens, you'll see that we have a web chat format up there to give you a glimpse. Some of you who aren't viewing, briefly, we'll have this introduction and you'll hear a bit from Katie, and then we'll hear from 4 community and family dance organizers from coast to coast, and then we'll have about 20 minutes for question and answer. So if you are thinking of questions throughout the time you're listening to our guests, you can enter them in the chat bar. And then we'll wrap it up by telling you about lots more resources available through CDSS and other sources for the likes of you, community and family dance organizers.
Woohoo.
So I want to take it away, Katie.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say just a big heartfelt welcome to all of you. We've been really excited about the work that we're doing this year and where it's going to lead us over the next couple of years. We last spring developed a brand new strategic plan for the organization, and one of the primary focus areas is, I will read them to you, improve our ability to bring traditional dance music and song experiences to school-age audiences through school and community-based programs. So that's a pretty broad net, but the logical, most obvious place to start is to really focus in and elevate the work of people who are putting on community and family dances already, and find ways to connect everyone together, find out what organizers who do that need most from us, what roles we could play. And we have some new board members who have a strong background in education that are coming on and will help us further that work over the next couple of years. So we are some of your biggest fans, and we are very, very, very grateful for the work that you do specifically around family and community dances.
Hear, hear.
Yes, intergenerational social interaction in a healthy, positive way set to music. What could be better? So, yeah, thank you for joining today.
Next slide, please. So our guests this time, we always have a trial run, and they had a wonderful idea of, instead of them repeating over and over the different elements of their dances, they've come up with this list, and I'll read it briefly for those of you who are not seeing screens. And guests, if you want to chime in with a brief explanation, feel free. So the big one is welcoming all ages, and choosing simple dances. Rick, did you want to say anything about that?
Well, just that if people have not put on a family dance before and they're used to, say, a traditional contra dance, the kind of dances that you need for a family dance are really completely different. Like your easiest contra that you would do at a contra dance is probably way too hard for a family dance. And people who aren't regular dancers are delighted to do dances that experienced dancers would consider to be dead easy. So New England Dancing Masters has published these great books that are a resource for everyone. It's an excellent place to start.
He was really good.
Okay, great. How about encouraging flexible partnering? Anybody want to chime in briefly?
Well, we have a lot of little kids who don't want to separate from their parents. And so we let them sometimes be just one person, the mom and the child, or the dad and the child, or sometimes even two young kids together are one unit. And we don't separate people because that can lead to tears.
Okay, great. Sarah, do you have a way to turn up your volume just a bit so we can hear you?
Is that better?
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And next we have rooted in your particular community. Chrissy, you have any little quick thing to say about that?
Chrissy, you're muted. Okay.
We might say more about it later, but just, that it's going to be about your community. You're the ones that are putting it on in your place, so it should be really tied into your community, whatever the particular group is that you're working with.
Okay. And include fun non-dance elements, and you'll be hearing some great ideas from these hosts as we go along. And connecting with broader dance and music culture. Anyone want to chime in about that?
I guess this is Chrissy. I just would say that you don't have to, but that it really helps make it successful if you're tied in some way to the broader dance and music culture, even if it's just because you're getting support from other organizers in other places, but that you're part of a larger whole can be very helpful in a successful series.
Okay, great. Well, let's dive right in with our first guest. And you'll see information there if you'd like to learn more about their dance, Sarah's dance. So this is Sarah Lee from the Sebasapol, California.
Hi. I'm really excited to be here and to be running a family dance because the whole reason I started Contra dancing just a few years back is because I first went to a family dance as a child in Belfast, Maine. And I thought about it all these years. And then in my 50s, I was looking for something fun to do. And I remembered how fun it was to go to a family dance. So I'm just thrilled that now I have the opportunity to help run a family dance with Susan Amato and Rodney Miller. A couple of the special things about our family dance, we've been doing this for 3 years. We have great attendance, I'd say between 45 and 110 dancers. And one of the ways we've been able to get people to come to our dance is that I promoted at the Waldorf schools and to the homeschoolers. The Waldorf schools have music programs at the school, and the kids are used to dance and music. They all play instruments. So what I do a couple weeks before the dance, we have a dance every month, is I go to the schools and I put up flyers. And I also go to library, the bookstore, the ice cream store, the toy store in town, and the natural food store. And then I make a Facebook event. And what I do with my Facebook event is I share it into the homeschool group. I'm a part of our homeschool group, which has over 1,000 families. And they let me share it there. So we have quite a few homeschool families that also come. And then I pay to boost our Facebook ad, basically. And I target parents. You can very specifically target on Facebook ads. I target parents who are interested in family-friendly events with live music and dance. And I get a lot of, maybe the last time I had over 100 people sharing the event locally. So a lot of people see it that way. And I think Facebook is a place where younger families are. So that's one of the things we do. We also have an email list that I use. Another thing that's bringing families in is Rodney Miller started this young musician program where families can email him and then he emails them the music. And so the children can practice at home. And then they come an hour before our dance at 3 o'clock and he has a rehearsal with them. So getting a chance to play, I don't know if you guys know Rodney Miller, but he's a master fiddler and he's really great with the kids. So they practice and then they're able to play some of the songs, not all of the dances. And then they also dance and their parents dance and their siblings. So it makes our community very rich. So we do that. And our format is an hour and a half. We have an hour and a half dance. We don't have a break in the middle. We dance for an hour and 20 minutes. At the end, we have a raffle where we give out ice cream gift certificates, which are pretty popular. And then we sing a birthday song for anyone who has a birthday. And we've actually had people bring an entire birthday party to our dance. So they brought a cake, and that was really special. Yeah. Then we have snack. And during snack, we network with parents and ask them to take flyers back to their communities. So pretty much that's our format, and it's lots of fun. I'm happy to answer any questions later.
Sounds great, Sarah. Thank you. So next we have Rick and Chloe Mohr from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right, so Philadelphia has a weekly English and a weekly Contra dance. It's been running for many years, and our dance is sponsored by the English Dance Group, and it's been going for at least 20 years, this dance. We have been running it for 9 years ourselves. We took it over. We'll talk a little about that. We do 6 monthly dances, November through April, because we've discovered in Philadelphia that nobody comes in the nice weather. So we It's a Sunday afternoon dance from 2 to 4 p.m. We found that little kids who are like 2 or 3 want to dance, but often don't do that well. And but we moved it back up to 2 when those kids are napping. Seems to be working well. We have 2 dance sets, and we do 2 songs in between them, which has been just a really nice break. Everybody sings together and comes up and makes a tight group and gets to rest, and we get to feel connected with each other that way. We have a potluck snack at the end. We tried it. It was tried in the middle, and the middle is a bad time for the snack because you can never get people back after that. We've been averaging about 44 dancers this year, and they're mostly from outside the regular dance community. There are a few come from the dance community, but mostly it's other channels. And some adults come without kids. That's definitely an audience of people who just like the scene and maybe want to do the easier dances.
When we started running this dance, we called the community dance, the GCD community dance, and that didn't mean anything to people outside of the dance community. And we now call it the Mount Airy Barn. Mount Airy is the name of the neighborhood where we hold the dance, but it's also, we get to capitalize on the positive association of the name. And barn dance sounds like something fun to people, and they at least have some sense of what that might be. So that's been successful, and that has helped our attendance to change the name. We collect email addresses from everybody that walks in the door who's willing to give us one, and we send them reminders every month. We post flyers around town, and we've intentionally designed the flyers to not have the band and caller names on them, because people who come to this dance don't care the name of the band and caller. That's not what they're looking for. We just advertise that they don't need to know anything, everyone's welcome, and that we have a snack. Yes, food is good. When we've tried to make connections in the community, it's effort. It's more than just sending an email or posting a flyer. Typically, if you know someone at a school or in a homeschool group or a youth group, talk to them on a personal level, issue personal invitations, try to get them to share with their group personally. And any kind of group that you can think of that might be interested, it's worth pursuing that. We have a Facebook page also and share information there about our dances. We've had some people hesitant about putting photos up because they don't want to put photos of other people's kids on the internet. So we sometimes use a filter. You can probably see on our photo that's posted on that slide. There's a free app called the Prisma app. And this one has a filter called Gothic on it. You can still clearly see what's going on, but you can't tell anybody's face. We have 3 main people who do all the calling and coordinating of music. We used to have a wide variety of rotating callers who came in. I think the continuity has helped our dance, strengthen our dance, and helped our dancers identify with the dance. And we have a committee that runs the dance, and we have kids and teens on the committee. They help with all the tasks related to running the dance, and they meet with us and make decisions about how to set everything up for the next year. Kids and teens are great participants in leadership roles as well. We also at dance will ask for volunteers, and sometimes in our email, volunteers to help out even in little ways, like help pour water for little kids, or help clean up the snack, help put away sound, that kind of thing helps people get invested in the dance. The whole thing is a very low budget affair. For comparison's sake out there, you might be interested to know, we pay the caller only $30. We pay up to 3 musicians $25 each. We have a great hall that we pay only $75 in rent for, and we charge $2 per kid and $5 per adult, with a maximum of $15 per family.
And I just wanted to say a couple quick things about the dances that we choose. None of our dances have roles, gents and ladies. It's just so much simpler for people that way. That many mixers, because we've found that kids don't like to get separated from their parents, although we do 1 or 2 now and then. And we don't do too many squares or fixed size sets, because we want everybody to be able to get up and dance.
Great.
And the last thing I'll say is that a few years ago, an 8th grader who had been to a CDSS camp came up to me and said, I want to do harder dances with kids my own age. We started a teen Contra dance in her living room, and we're now in our 3rd year of doing that, and it's really taking off. So
CDSS
Yay.
And she was a regular at our barn dance who we sent to a CDSS camp.
Okay.
Hot to track. No, CDSS camp was great. And now there's a teen dance as well as a family dance.
Great.
It's fantastic.
Okay, you guys, this is wonderful. More great ideas. Okay, next up is Dean Harrington from the Chapel Hill, North Carolina area. Take it away, Dean.
Hi. Yes, we've had a Contra dance group going here in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina since the 1980s. Around 2003, I think it was, several of us enthusiastic dancer parents decided to start up a family dance. For the first few years, we held it at various venues, mostly schools and churches, in Durham and in Chapel Hill. We moved it around to see if we could find a good place, and there were certain issues with moving it each time. We, after a number of years, we settled on one venue that we stick to pretty regularly now, and that seems to have helped. Our dances, we do 6 or 8 a year, much like Rick and Chloe mentioned, just about monthly, but we avoid the warm weather months because we found too that attendance drops way down during the summer especially. We usually do them on a Saturday evening, so I guess that's different from most of the other speakers here. We start early in the evening, but it is an evening dance usually. We have occasionally done some Sunday afternoon dances, which work well as well as the Saturday dances, but we've stuck mostly to the Saturday format. It is a separate event, and we mainly target kids up through tweens, up to about age 12 or so. We would love to have more teens coming, but there is quite a discrepancy in ability and interest levels between the teens and the young folks. We have on occasion had some youth dances targeted to teens, and they worked okay as well, but we find that the teens who are really interested can be absorbed into the adult dances at a fairly early age, and that seems to work. So we feel it's best to target the younger kids and their parents and grandparents. And we also get some adults coming who don't come with kids, which is great. We usually do a potluck supper beforehand, starting around 5:45 or 6 o'clock. And then the dancing starts at about 6:30. We go for 2.5 hours or so, at 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on the crowd. So up until 9 o'clock at the latest. We have a break in the middle, although we call it an interlude. We don't want to think of it as a break. We deliberately don't want it to be a time where the energy dissipates. So I'll tell you more about what we do during our interlude a little bit later. We start the dancing with very easy dances, of course, and through the evening gradually increase the difficulty, but we're not talking about difficult dances. Maybe half of the time we get up to the simplest possible contra dance by the end of the evening. So that's about the range we usually do. We also have a fairly low budget. Each dance runs about $250, half of which is for the venue. We're not as lucky as the others to have a really cheap venue. It's a nice venue, but it's not as cheap. So we keep the budget pretty low, and the prices are somewhat higher than what have been mentioned before, but still they don't seem to have been a problem for our attendance. In terms of how we market the dances or how put out publicity, from the beginning we've kept an email list for announcements. People can sign up with their email addresses at the dances. Verbal announcements are made at adult dances. We used to do posters around towns. I say towns, Durham and Chapel Hill primarily. But that's dropped off. They didn't seem to be very effective. And nowadays we're getting into social media such as Facebook posts. A number of years ago, we changed the name from family dance to community dance in hopes of avoiding the confusion that you have to come with a kid if you want to come. But on the other hand, community dance sometimes misleads people. We get some people coming who really weren't expecting all the kids and the super easy dancing level. So I'm not sure there's an ideal name for one of these events. I like the barn dance idea.
Yeah.
Hey, Dean, can you very quickly talk about the interlude, and then your time will be almost up.
Okay, thanks. So at the interlude, we usually sing 1 or 2 rounds, and then have a session of open mic joke telling, which is a big hit with the kids. They love taking the microphone in their hands and saying, "I'm so-and-so, and I'm this old, and here's my joke." And of course, it's a very appreciative audience for that. We also then do door prize drawing and have kids pick the ticket stubs and read the numbers, which they also enjoy doing. We occasionally can supplement those things during the interlude with a performance by some group. We try to do outreach to nearby youth dance or music groups, to schools, to homeschoolers in particular. And sometimes there'll be a group of kids that can put on a short 5-minute performance during the interlude. That's a big win, because then they bring along a bunch of adults who wouldn't normally come to the dance, so it spreads the word that way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll move on to our next guest. So thank you so much, Dean.
Mm-hmm.
So next up is Chrissy Fowler and Bruce Snyder from Belfast, Maine.
Hi, I'm Chrissy Fowler,
I'm Bruce Snyder.
and we have in 2005, we founded our group called Belfast Flying Shoes, and we have a year-round monthly community dance. We advertise our community dance as simple dances for all ages. We say fun for the whole community, and we say that it's welcoming of both beginners and experienced dancers. Our organization also produces variety, a large variety of outreach programs, and many of those help bring traditional participatory social dance, what we do, to other places. So we went last, and we have tons of overlap with the other groups. We thought we would just reiterate some of them so that everybody hears them again. And these are things that we do that we think most community and family dance organizers probably do at some level.
We emphasize the fun and that this is a party.
And we do simple dances, as Rick was saying earlier, a variety of formations. We do a number, usually one a month, of scattered foursomes. So in addition to long way sets or circles, we'll have little scattered foursomes, but usually that's a little flexible. And speaking of flexible,
we also encourage flexible partnering. So we have people in all different configurations and age combinations.
Speaking of ages, we do have all ages. And as Rick was saying, there are adults that come to our dance as well that's all they want to do. They want to do an hour. Our dance is 6:30 to 7:30 on a Friday night. They want an hour. They want simple dances, and they are happy.
And we brand our dance. We have a name, and we put it on everything we do. Dance. Our monthly Contra dance, which is the same night as the community dance, and all our outreach efforts, it's all under the Flying Shoes banner.
And speaking of attention-seeking behaviors, we welcome media coverage. And I think that that's something that, as community and family dance organizers, it is a easy sell that people might want to come and do a newspaper article, or they might want to do radio or TV. We had all that stuff, especially in our formative years back in the early 2000s, mid to late 2000s rather. And so that would be a plus for promotion.
For us, a community dance is community-based, and for us that means people are coming not just because they are folk dance hobbyists. They're coming to see their friends, and so it's an event that isn't just about this specialized kind of activity.
As all three of the other organizations were saying, we are proud to sell our product. We love what we do, and we are not even shy about letting people know how great it is. Early on, one of our founding board members, had posters on her car. So she rode all over town, like kind of selling the dance. We don't do posters anymore because it's too much work. But we still do other things like a press release every month. Thank you, Bruce. Community calendar listings, radio listings. We're on the statewide folk arts organization. We send our own e-news. We have a blog, and we do a Facebook thing. But and we think that all those things are important. Like if we stopped, we think nobody would come. But we also think that that just sort of raises our general profile in our small community. So more than the average bear, we are known in our community. And that if people, like if I were to say to Bruce, hey, come along to this dance, he would say, oh yeah, I've heard about that because it's everywhere.
And we offer a consistent product. We have the same, like the rest of you guys have talked about, we have the same order of events every month. That makes people feel more comfortable, and that consistency, I think, also makes us an easier to recommend, because people know that what they're recommending to their friends is what's actually going to happen.
Which is important. We also, like many dances, our dance is made by our community. So it's really focused on the people who are coming. And so we'll welcome initiatives like, we'll take special requests for dances. Rick mentioned the Dancing Masters repertoire. Zip It Up is a very popular and actually quite complicated dance that often gets requested. But that being said, we don't act on every initiative. So we've had people suggest things and we said, oh, interesting. And then we just don't do it. For example, we actually don't provide a set list. I think because of our culture, it's this all-comers band that we have where everybody can come play. we just choose the dances right then, the tunes. We prepare the dances, but we choose the tunes right then. And some people would want to rehearse, but it's more of a free-for-all for us, so that's that. And we do some things that are specific to Belfast. And so one thing that is unusual about Belfast is
we have a very vibrant traditional music scene. Belfast is kind of a magnet for traditional musicians. I had to skip the incredibly great Irish session at a bar downtown. That's every Thursday. There's also Maine Fiddle Camp right up the road. There's a bunch of fiddle groups that are the Belfast Bay Fiddlers is a regular weekly jam. We draw on all these other institutions and informal groups to sort of feed our dance in musicians and also dancers as a result of all of this. And as Chrissy said, that gives us some shortcuts because there is a standard local repertoire that all the fiddlers around Belfast are going to know. So people can show up at the All-Comers dance or the All-Comers band and know that they're going to feel comfortable with what's being played.
And so, so for the all-comers, we definitely appreciate the all-comers. It's volunteer musicians and totally inclusive. We cheer, we give chocolate to the musicians and do some silly. So we're just about going to wind up.
Okay.
We have
This is a year-round monthly community dance. We promote it with the Contra dance that happens later that same night. That gives us a number of advantages. There's some overlap of attendees, so they're younger people who come for the community dance who gradually sort of edge their way into the Contra dance. It also gives us low overhead because we rent the hall for one figure for the whole night and we get 2 dances out of it. That lets us offer very low admission, $1 for kids and teens and $2 for adults, and anybody who plays with the all-comers.
I'm doing it.
Free admission.
one thing I would say too about that overlap is that we do have a lot of high school and middle school kids who come early for the community dance. Some of them to play in the band because they get a discount for the whole event, and some of them just to bring their friends, like to say, oh, look, this is how you do a swing. So they might not even participate completely in the community dance. They might be off on the side showing fancy swing moves. So yeah, it makes it open to everybody. But I think one of the things that's probably different about our organization is that we have a very large outreach component, and that's grant and donation funded, so they're separate from our self-sustaining dances. But I think what happens for us is that raises the profile of participatory dance in our area. So things that we do, like we help fund Contra dance residencies. We call them Contra dance because people know what that word means here. But barn dance would be another equally great way of putting it. And we do that in pre-K to 12 schools, including, as one of our dancers pointed out, isolated island communities. We're on a bay and there's lots of island schools. We've been doing dancing in a corrections facility locally and assisted living residences. We've had weekly classes. And then we do some wacky things, like we had a 4-part film series about Contra dancing at the library, and we donated the films. And I mean, basically, we just do anything we can to kind of raise the profile of this thing that we do, which we think is so wonderful.
Okay, Chrissy, I think we're going to need to save time for question and answers now. Any other pressing thing? Okay.
The last thing is that one of the things we did was had a Beatles Contra that Rick came up from Philadelphia to call, which was super duper.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Well, we've had some questions being contributed. If any of you other participants have ideas for questions, please jot them into the chat bar.
All right.
And I'm going to turn it over to Lynn Nichols now.
Okay, here are some of the questions that have been asked. And all these are pretty much to anyone on the group, if any one of the presenters, if you want to chime in. First one is, any suggestions for making a small dance successful in smaller population areas?
I mean, I can speak to that right now because Belfast is like, what, 4,000 people? 6,000. So we're pretty small. We're not Research Triangle. We're definitely not Philadelphia. And I don't think we're even Sebasapol, right? So I think all the things that everybody has said so far about promoting and just like really get out there and start selling it like it's an elixir, you know, like it's a really good thing that everybody should have.
Yeah, and I think being in a smaller community is an advantage in some ways because there's just less going on in general, and also things go viral faster if the community is tight-knit, because if one person knows about it, everybody tends to find out eventually. And I think also homeschool and Waldorf school, those are very fertile places to plant the seed, because kids in those settings are not easily embarrassed.
Okay.
Okay. Another question, do you treat your dances as individual events, or is there some continuity or skill building from dance to dance, from week to week? Anyone want to take that?
It really depends on the crowd, you know. And a caller will read as a caller, you can read the crowd, and if it looks like people are skilled enough to do a harder dance, then you can stick to the dance. But it often is, at our dance, a mix every month, and the skill doesn't build much.
Right. Yeah, I would say it leans towards the side of just you're almost starting from scratch every time, although there is some skill building over time.
Okay. Thank you.
I would say one more thing about that, which is that ours is the same way. In fact, we do the same first dance every single month. And there's nothing, I saw some chat thing coming up there about, like, it's not so much about the skill building, it's about the repeating things, because then you have this thing that you all do together. It's not about, people aren't coming to our dance to become expert dancers. They're coming to dance with each other and to have a social event, like Bruce was saying. So I guess, no, we don't worry about building skill.
Okay. What resources do you have for finding simple dances? And someone answered the question, and I'm just going to say the answer to this because
I'll show you that later, Chrissy.
But also, yes, we're going to show that later, Chrissy. But somebody mentioned, and I'm going to mention them because they're available on the CDSS online store. New England Dancing Masters and Mary and Rose's Step Lively are two good resources. But anyone else have any suggestions? We are going to show the booklet a little bit later on.
Just to add to that, New England Dancing Masters has a number of videos on YouTube as well. I think you should get the book and have the directions, but it's also, if you're trying to learn the dances, it's helpful to look for them online too.
Okay, thank you. Are there some dances that are repeated every dance, or do the dances change or get more difficult from dance to dance? So in other words, the second question as part of that was, do you find the kids get bored and they want to change the dance, or do you pretty much do the same dances?
Dean or Sarah, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, we generally do the same bunch of dances. Obviously not all of the same dances every time, but I think we assume that the level is not going to increase too much over time, and we're not worried about boredom. I think repetition works better, as people have said.
Okay, thank you. This is a question about delivery. Repertoire is obviously important, but does anyone have any suggestions for resources on delivery? In other words, on calling techniques or...
I see Chloe nodding her head.
Well, I mean,
Chloe,
I think that's a great question because it is super important. And I mean, I'm actually not that experienced of a caller, although I do call our family dance regularly now. And I get the dance important, and I think how you deliver it, especially in a calm, friendly, welcoming manner, just as a very basic tip, is super, super important. But I don't know, I mean, I'm gonna ask CDSS office, are there any tips sort of general on delivery or resources that you'd recommend? I guess like callers courses, no matter what it's for, whether it's English or Contra or anything else, if you take a transfer to this.
I mean, I will say, so Nikki, Chrissy is holding up a book that's a really helpful resource. I would say that learning to be a caller, a general Contra dance caller, English dance caller, helps in a lot of ways, but it doesn't get you all the way there, because the skill set required for managing a room of chaos is very different than the skill set required for satisfying experienced dancers with high expectations and a high skill level. So the best thing that I would recommend is to go to as many different family, community, barn dance settings as you possibly can and watch the other people and watch the tricks that they do. You really have to kind of be comfortable with chaos and just not take it as a sign of failure or that things are going wrong, because you have to maintain just calm in your voice. And so I see people saying Port Parley. Port Parley is a great organization that brings together dance leaders and music educators and such skill in doing what I'm talking about and keeping a group together. The other, and I'm sorry, this is my job. It's literally my job to promote our camps. But I have learned so much over the years by going to family dance camps. And I do love ours. I think they're great, but they're not the only ones out there. So I would just say, look for places to go. Yep, Jennifer, I see it. The Mountain Folk Festival in Berea, Kentucky that happens every spring. There are places that you can go to just immerse yourself in it and just watch everybody else. That's my soapbox response to that. But yeah.
Great.
And would this be a good time to mention?
Yes.
So there is a community dance leaders course that is not being offered by CDSS. It's being offered by the Lloyd Shaw Foundation this summer at their Cumberland Dance Week. Chrissy Davis Camp is teaching it, and it's really focused on exactly that question, building the skill, repertoire, and confidence for conducting and calling community dances. Cumberland Dance Week, just search Cumberland Dance Week on Google. It's June 30th through the 5th in Pleasantville, Tennessee. And just a great staff there. So, go to that one, get really excited, and then also come to the CDSS camps later in the summer, and you will just be completely ready when the fall comes around.
I just wanted to mention one thing that Bev said to everyone in the group, and I don't know if everyone saw it, but delivery, smile, it comes through your voice. Be willing to be silly. I think that's very important. Also, I want to jump ahead a couple of questions only because there's been a lot of conversation about folk dances within dances. Do any of you have folk dance as part of your evening, like Greek traditional international dance? And then somebody says, someone has said, Carol asked about ethnic dances. This is. Someone said, yes, I do. Our dances are smaller than the ones being featured this evening. Maybe one reason. However, on the other hand, some people love coming just because of what they call these quirky, fun dances. So any of the presenters, do you have any international folk dance in your?
I call a lot of community family dances, and there's one dance I do in Bar Harbor, an hour and a half from here. And every time we do Zemer Atik, and then we do this other crazy thing that I don't even know how it goes very well. But so we do some international dances there, but not at our dance. But you could, I think you totally could. And I would think it would depend on the skill of the people who were leading the dancing. It seems like a great idea.
You also need to get your musicians to play it, and many of them don't know that repertoire as well. But they can always learn one or two.
Yes, that's true. The band that I work with every month in Bar Harbor knows those tunes, right?
I have someone asked a question specifically for Rick, and that is, are the teen dances growing in ability? In other words, is there skill building particularly on that? Do you find that, or is it just no? Okay.
Yeah. you know, there's a trade-off between dance size and building skills. And I read in a CDSS news about 20 years ago, somebody talking about purposely starting up a dance and keeping it small for a year or two and getting their core of people really skilled before they started getting people. But anyway, the answer for our teen dance is that we were kind of building up our skills and getting better. And then we got a huge influx of people, which was fantastic. But then our skill levels dropped. So there's something of a trade-off there, but I think we are improved.
I just want to also chime in. So in Berea, they have for years now, for 30 years now, they've had a teen club of local teens that learn performance dances, and they do skill building together. And they're instrumental in hosting the Mountain Folk Festival that I referred to. So they're connecting with other groups of teens that it's basically a club where the intention is to build skill and repertoire. And then they have this payoff where they come together and visit their friends once a year and get to exchange and show what they do. So I almost feel like when you get to that age, it's the teens, if they're really interested and you want to build skill, you need more than just the monthly dances. You need that intention and that focus, or a club atmosphere. It works really well.
I just wanted to make a comment that several other people say they start their family dance with Sasha, and I just wanted to relate a personal experience that I live here in Western Massachusetts, and my small town, which is only it's under 1,000 people, I think. I think we have more cows than people. We had our 225th anniversary, and one of the things that we decided to do was start a family dance. And we had the pleasure of having Andy Davis come and call for us, which was lovely. And everyone who came, most people had never been to a contra dance or a family dance before, and they loved Sasha. They thought that was great. I have a question about a couple people mentioned door prizes. Somebody wanted to know what kind of prizes people use for door prizes if you do that in your dance.
Well, go ahead, Sarah. Do you want to?
Well, I get ice cream gift certificates. I actually had them donated from the local ice cream store a lot of months, and those are great. And our local toy store has donated toys, and the bookstore. So that's what we've done. How about you?
Yeah, we have also done the ice cream certificates, which are very popular, and otherwise it's simple toys targeted for younger kids, like sidewalk chalk or a little card game, or I don't know, things, fairly small things. It's the process of winning that's the excitement, not the actual prize too much. But. Oh, and we cheat a little bit. Not cheat. We bias the selection. We give out ticket stubs and we discriminate between adults and kids, and we only put the kids stubs in the pot that we pick from. So.
Okay. Someone asked, does anyone do this for free? Run a dance where they don't collect money?
Well, from the people, or do you mean not pay yourselves? Because we do that.
No, I think the question was being asked of people attending the dance.
You got to pay the rent.
Yeah, true.
Right. I mean, if you can get the hall for free, you could. I have heard, and Wendy Graham would be a good person to ask about this because it's her field, that people are more likely to come and attach more value to something if you charge at least some nominal fee.
I totally agree.
Just charge $1 for everybody or something if money's not an issue. You actually are going to get more interest in attendance that way than doing
Yes, I can't help interrupting. I totally agree. And that's why we charge. This is Chrissy, and that's why we charge $1. That's why we started off charging $1 for kids and $2 for adults, which is nothing. But we didn't want to do it for free because you have to have some skin in the game. That's our opinion.
Yeah, and also at every dance, Chrissy makes a big deal about the All-Comers Band and how all these musicians come and play for free.
They do play for free.
To establish in the minds of the dancers the value of that too. And I think that also builds some kind of sense of appreciation and knits us together, dancers and musicians.
Okay, I just have one more, thank you. I have one more question, and that is, several of you are from big city areas, so maybe someone could chime in. In promoting a dance in a larger population area where it's hard to get the attention of parents because there's so many different events going on, are there any suggestions that you have to cut through the clutter of sort of all of the Facebook events and all of the things that are going on to try to get your dance in people's forefront, people's minds?
Go ahead, Sarah. You could start.
Well, I think the best way we get people to come is friends, maybe word of mouth. People have a good experience maybe, and then they share. Since I've been paying, I spend $10 to pay to promote the Facebook ad. That's really been helping. I think that helps. That's my only thing I have to say. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I try to, when I'm talking to people personally, I haven't really tried to do this in our online outreach, but when talking to people personally, I say that it's one of the few activities that adults and kids and whole families can do together as equal participants, and I try to sell it that way. You know, a lot of other activities, you're either doing it for your kids and the parents can go, but it's not really enjoyable for them, or you're dragging your kids to something, and this is really, you know, kids and parents can participate in the community as equals, and it's fun for everyone. So that's kind of the angle that I've tried to go for to distinguish it.
Okay, great, everybody. I think we're going to begin to wrap it up because our time is running out, but we really appreciate all the questions and the answers. We have a featured resource here that Chrissy was referring to, a booklet that is published by CDSS, Family and Community Dances. And for those of you who aren't viewing the screen, it includes things like organizing a community family dance, a checklist for planning a successful dance, top 10 family dances and sources, resources for community and family dancing. And we want you all to know that we are in the process of making it possible to access this booklet online on the CDSS website. That's not quite ready. But since we have you in our email list now, you are going to be the first to hear about the availability of this booklet online. So other resources available through CDSS, we have an organizer's resource portal on the website that was compiled and reorganized, and Emily Addison from Ottawa has done an amazing job bringing together materials of many, many topics that are pertinent for dance organizers. So check it out on our website. Also, this web chat series, we have recordings of our 3 previous web chats, and we're recording this web chat tonight, and you can find those recordings on our website as well. We offer grants for any dance communities that might have special initiatives that you would need financial support with, and I happen to be the person who administers the grants program. So feel free to contact me at CDSS if you have questions about that. Our next deadline is June 1st, and the application materials are on our website. Also, Emily Addison has started a quarterly e-blast called Shop Talk that's packed with information for dance organizers. And we are now having quarterly e-blasts for our CDSS affiliates, and those often include resources for organizers. And we have the CDSS news that comes out quarterly, thanks to Lynn. And there's a series in the newsletter called All Join Hands that's specifically on community dance.
And that is actually organized, that sometimes written by and sometimes and often with guest writers. That is organized by Marion Rose, who I believe is on the call tonight. So thank you, Marion.
And as Katie announced, we do have wonderful week-long music and dance and song camps in the summer, and including family dances. And so those are also great places to network and learn more about family and community dances. And for the camps, wait a minute, we have scholarships.
Yes.
There's still quite a bit of scholarship funding left, and I'm also the person wearing the hat of giving out scholarships. So you can contact me about that or look online.
Basically become really good friends with Linda.
So to wrap this up, actually, I wanted to make sure everybody heard the word pourparler, Pourparler. Pourparler is an amazing organization that is specifically for bringing people together who use music and dance with kids and families in their schools and internships. So check it out on the website, on the web. They have a yearly event that brings people together from all over the country. So that's a really great resource. Okay, so wrapping it up, very soon, probably tomorrow, you'll be receiving a survey from me. We would love to hear your feedback about this particular web chat. This is a new adventure for us, and any feedback you can give us will help us to improve our future web chats.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, the recording for this web chat will be available on our website, which I'll mention to you in the email tomorrow. So feel free to share that with anybody who wasn't able to join us this evening. And if you have, we had many questions and not all of them got answered. So a great way to continue this conversation is to join Shared Wait. And we have the email there. You can sign up for this online forum.
For those of you on the phone, it's www.sharedwait.net.
That's shared, S-H-A-R-E-D, wait, W-E-I-G-H-T. And this helps people, organizers, connect from all over the place on a wide range of topics. So is somebody chiming in? What?
I think
Did you
it's
say something? Okay,
Yeah.
background noise. For our next web chat, we've chosen a tentative date of July 11th at this same time frame, and we'll be back in touch to confirm that date. The topic is building safe dance communities, and we're going to have some great resources for that one, including a woman who offers workshops for dance organizers on this very topic. So our time is just about up. We want to especially thank all of our guests for the time and energy and thought you put into all the things you shared. Thank you so much. And every single person who's on this call, we know that you are doing really valuable work in your communities to spread the joy of music, dance, and song. And CDSS is here to support you. So please keep in touch. Let us know any ways that we can help you.
That Waldorf school over there.
Okay.
All right.
Goodbye from CDSS.
Bye from CDSS.
Thank you
for
all.
joining us.
Bye-bye.
Waldorf, it may be another private. I thought it was okay.